What's up, Amazon sellers? Welcome back to the weekly Sunday show where we bring you some news, some opinion, and hopefully a laugh or two. We're going to share some e-commerce news, some stats, maybe the occasional business maxim. And of course, we're here to answer your questions about selling on Amazon or heck, anything else you've got. You just want some life advice, bring it, and we will give you some very poor life advice. So if you got a question about retail arbitrage, online arbitrage, maybe you want to dive into wholesale, or perhaps you just have a Keepa quandary, drop it in the chat and we will be more than happy to help. If you're new here, my name's Chris Grant, and to my right is my Symmetricus co-host, Chris Rasick. I thought actually, that one I thought fit very nicely. It is a person with wavy hair.
Oh, that's spot on then.
Right.
I'm just thankful for you eased up on the syllables. So that's a nice, refreshing break.
Yes. Yeah. I want to make sure that that those low down cheating bastards at U of M will not understand it, but I need it to be a little bit of a less of a mouthful if we're going to get it out on the show.
Yeah. I mean, if we want to make sure they don't understand, just go anything 2 syllables or more, and we should have it covered. So,
you're probably right. How's Sunday treating you, man?
Sunday's good. It's a good start. I did some my favorite kind of retail therapy. I had a chance to dig into the 2-for-1 special on Audible. You get 2 titles for 1 credit, which I can't resist at least taking a look, and it's hit and miss, but it was pretty good this go round. So I got 4 new audiobooks, so that makes me feel good. And hey, I don't know if it was kind of like, it wasn't an official poll, but it kind of made the rounds in one of the corners of social media. There was a debate sparked up. And it was the debate was basically, what's the worst song ever made or ever recorded, and it was kind of it was an informal thing, and it probably would have been nothing had attention not been brought to it, right? So anyway, so there was the NPR Tiny Desk concert from Edward Sharpe and the Magnetic Zeros. Popped up online. I don't know if it was NPR just kind of recycling some clips or whatever, but it kind of caught on, trended a little bit, and it was basically a large contingency of people said that it was probably their song Home was probably the worst song ever recorded.
Okay.
And that probably would have faded away had the lead singer of Edward Sharpe and the Magnetic Zeros not decided to defend himself. So he went and so it got much bigger than it should have been. But I really don't understand. So and then the concept, I can't remember the mechanism that it's called. There's an actual title for it, but you know how you if you get interested in saying, like, I want to buy a black Jeep, and then all of a sudden you start seeing black Jeeps all over the place, kind of draws your attention to it. So it might have been some sort of effect to that. But like within a day or two of me hearing about this worst song ever kind of online social media debate that was going on, let me state this. My wife, I knew beforehand and married her anyway. I knew that she liked country music, right? And I decided not to hold it against her. We got through it. However, within a day or two of seeing this debate, she is upstairs with her Bluetooth speaker, and she is unironically listening to the Dixie Chicks song Earl. And I immediately I don't know how any debate of the worst song ever recorded can take place without that song coming up. Because that is, it almost causes like a gag reflex. That's how bad that song is. So I thought that was pretty funny.
That is funny. I was gonna throw a song into the ring for worst song ever recorded, and it too is a country song. I guess, but it's by the gentleman who cursed this world with Miley Cyrus. It's "Achy Breaky Heart" by whatever his name is.
Billy Ray.
Billy Ray. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely horrible song.
Yeah, I have to imagine if there was ever an official poll, country songs have to take up the majority of the rankings, I would imagine.
Yeah. Yeah. GSD. That is also a very solid entry. William Hung's version of "She Bangs" on American Idol. That was a poor show. Absolutely.
It kind of muddies the water if you get into like karaoke. And
true.
No surprise that Luke likes that song. I think our list of worst songs ever made is the subtitle would be a list of Luke's favorite songs.
Oh, that's funny. All right. Let's get to some news. And of course, if you guys have questions, make sure to drop them in the chat. We've got some answers for you today. So first piece of news, Amazon announced a big, huge grocery play. Amazon is making its most aggressive move into groceries yet. And some people are saying that it could shake up retail. It could shake up delivery apps. And in my opinion, this may just be incredible news for Amazon sellers. So here's what's happening. You can now get fresh, perishable groceries delivered by Amazon, and they're now included in the same day delivery. And that is right now, it's across 1,000 US cities with plans to hit 2,300 cities by the end of the year. Prime members are going to get that absolutely free on orders over $25. Otherwise, you can pay $2.99 if you just don't want to go to the store for milk. Non-Prime customers can pay a $12.99 flat per order, which is pretty close to being in line with other delivery apps. And I don't know if they're going to ask for a tip or anything like that, but if they're not asking for a tip on that $12.99 flat fee per order, well, now they've got everyone beat on delivery apps because I think most of those are $9.99 plus a tip. Customers can toss bananas, milk, frozen pizza right in the same cart as electronics, weighted vests, household essentials, and a lot of it can be delivered in just hours. The most popular item in the perishable grocery category right now is apparently strawberries. Kind of no surprise there. So let's talk a little bit about the scale of this, or the opportunity that Amazon has to scale this. Groceries currently make up 43% of US retail sales, but only 15% of that spend is currently online. That's a huge growth gap, and Amazon is looking to own a major piece of it. Amazon's grocery business has already topped $100 billion in gross merchandise volume last year, or 20% of US gross merchandise volume online. They're going to be serving 150 million plus Americans with groceries and household essentials by the end of the year. You've only got to have 2,300 cities to serve more than half. Well, that's not true. Almost 50% of the entire United States population. And Luke, they're supposed to be using in-store prices. Now, does that mean does that mean what you can buy things for on Amazon, or does that mean you've got to, pay Whole Foods prices? I don't know for sure. I haven't really looked into it. I'm guessing that Central Florida is going to be one of the areas that's served by this. I just haven't taken a look, and so I'm curious. There has been quite a market reaction already. So Wall Street obviously likes this play. Walmart, Costco, Kroger, Albertsons and BJ's all saw their stocks dip after this announcement. DoorDash dropped 4%. Instacart fell 11%. And of course, Amazon stock jumped 3.5% on the news. Now, how are they even going to make this work? Well, Amazon is building same-day facilities, trying to push that inventory closer and closer to consumers. And of course, they are using more robotics to cut costs, meaning they might be able to dodge the whole fresh food delivery profit drag that a lot of other people have had trouble with. It's the way that Publix gets around it, for example, is charging more for Instacart orders. I mean, Instacart does that pretty much across the board, tacking on 5 to 10% for every item that you buy. Now, why does this actually matter? Why are we bringing this up? Well, more grocery traffic is going to equal more eyeballs on Amazon, or at least those same eyeballs coming back to Amazon even more frequently than they already did. Okay. And it's going to lead to them buying other items. I'll give you an example. My wife and I have switched from Publix for most of our grocery shopping. We still do some fresh foods at Publix, but we've switched over to Walmart. Today, my wife said she wanted to go to Walmart rather than order on the app. And so we did. And while we were at Walmart, because they are a super center, not only did we pick up the groceries that we needed, but she was also able to pick up, a puzzle or two, I think, and a few other things that, were not on the list of grocery items just because they were there. Well, that same exact thing is going to happen on Amazon. I don't have to go out, so I'll go ahead and pick myself up a little treat to go along with all of these grocery items. Analysts have said that they expect this to pressure competitors like Kroger and Albertsons to either slash or kill delivery fees, just like pickup fees got killed a few years back. And for Amazon sellers, like I said, this should signal higher purchase frequency, stronger Prime loyalty. We want as many Prime customers as we possibly can. And then, of course, this will likely increase ad revenue for Amazon, because the more traffic that they can get, the more frequent traffic they can get, the more often they can restock that ad shelf, which, I mean, Amazon wants to drive profit, but perhaps if they can profit a bit more from ads, which we don't really have to pay for as arbitrage sellers, perhaps that will keep fee increases at bay for just a little while longer. The big picture is this really isn't just about groceries. Like, Amazon is doing everything they can to weave themselves deeper into everyday life of the American consumer. They want to drive repeat purchases. They want to tighten that grip on U.S. e-commerce. And if you sell like consumables or CPG or consumer product goods, household staples, like, if people are already buying their fresh food there and you're the one selling them the Glade plug-in or anything else, and they want that, well, you're gonna be the one who wins because of this. I think this is huge. I think that if Amazon does this right, I think this could be a massive win for Amazon sellers.
Yeah, a massive win for Amazon, massive win for Amazon sellers. This is big. I've mentioned it before. And if you probably the predominant theory on Target's downfall is that they didn't embrace grocery enough or fast enough. That's probably the main criticism as far as the troubles that Target's experiencing. So you flip that, you can kind of see what a linchpin grocery can be. I mean, it's good for e-commerce in general. This is going to simply drive more people to order things online. I know for a fact that my Walmart Plus membership and the free grocery delivery that I get with it has vastly decreased the amount of times that I make physical trips to the store anymore, right? So now you have basically it's the old theory of the grocery store map, right? You know, they put the things that are more popular in the back to make you walk through the aisles. You know, the milk is in the back, the meat is in the back. You know, the things that you're going to go primarily there for are in the back, so that you have to walk through the aisles because you're more likely to pick up things here and there. This is the digital version of that. You know, this is all those pandemic Amazon sellers that got ungregated in grocery that proved, you know, their timing was incredible based on what was going to happen around the events of 2020. This may be a return to the glory days. You know, if you've been laying off grocery and you know, any kind of these household items, you know, this is, and boy, let's rewind to when we were talking about the potential that Walmart had when they were courting new sellers and really making a push, which, and pour one out for those poor sales reps that are working for Walmart right now, that had all this PR and all this momentum behind them, and they were just bringing in new sellers and whining and dining and making everybody happy and making everybody smile, and now they don't even know what the hell's going on anymore. But what a shift in a very, very short period of time, where you went from Walmart being in a position to legitimately, it was very, very difficult to even think of an argument as to why Walmart couldn't make themselves the first legitimate contender to Amazon's e-com crown, to now this, where Amazon, they made a mistake with Whole Foods. That wasn't the right play. Didn't work out the way they wanted it to, but now they have a legitimate stake in grabbing some increased market share of grocery, which is going to hurt Walmart more than anybody else. That's my guess. So
Yeah,
what a plot twist.
Oh man. I was just thinking about this the other day. Like, for a minute, Amazon really did. They had me, you know. I was like, oh, and I'm all about competition. You know, I think competition is good for the marketplace. Man, they really screwed the pooch. This is just like Walmart to do. I'm not sure why I let them hurt me again. You know, I thought that when they purchased jet.com, I thought that was going to be the moment that they embraced e-commerce and even the e-commerce seller. And they shot themselves in the foot with that. And then I was like, okay, you know, this is it. They're really going to do it. They brought over all these Amazon people, and nope, big old swing and a big old miss with what they're doing right now. And yeah, the Walmart sales reps you mentioned, like, I feel bad for them. I feel even worse for the ones who have to go and work the Walmart seller conference in about 10 days from now. Because I would imagine that they are just going to have a bunch of really pissed off people showing up and asking what the hell's going on.
Yeah, and rightfully so. And they're not going to have very many answers. I'll be curious to hear how that goes, because it's set up to be a bloodbath. Yeah,
absolutely. And Luke, you're not wrong about Walmart delivery. My Walmart delivery guy, because I got like 50% off that in-home delivery. And so I was like, I got 50% off the first year of Walmart Plus. And I was like, you know what? Let's just go ahead and pay for the in-home delivery as well. I don't have them come in and like stack the groceries away. I'm like, hey, just put them in the garage. But I go out and talk to the guy. Super, super nice guy. But you're absolutely right. You know, every now and again, I get something and they're like, that's not what you ordered. I'm like, no, that's not it at all. But that's all right. It beats going to the grocery store, especially on a day like today. UCF, University of Central Florida, starts back to school tomorrow. And so both Target and Walmart today were slammed. So much so that the gentleman in he didn't even wear his Walmart, his going out pajamas. Like he just wore, the ratty old pajamas to Walmart today. Said very loudly, "My milk's going to expire by the time we get through this line." And I just wanted to hand him a Ryan Holiday book, but I'm not sure that he could read, so it wouldn't have done any good.
That's a pretty good one. That's a nice Walmart version of "Get Off My Lawn."
Right? I thought it was clever for a guy whose family tree is a circle or a wreath. But all right. eBay's got some new seller tools rolling out. eBay's rolling out a new suite of seller tools aimed at streamlining everything from messaging to inventory management. The very first thing is eBay's rolling out an AI messaging assistant in the US and the UK, both on mobile and web. It's going to draft replies to common buyer questions like shipping or item specifics, using information from your listings. So for those of you who don't fill out the product details and you don't fill out the information that you can, maybe you should start doing that because it's going to pull from all of that information. Now, it's not going to auto send to the customer. You're still going to have to hit approve, edit, or totally dismiss it, which is probably good because, who knows what AI is going to say if someone reaches out and says, "Hey, does this fit my cat?" Who knows? There's also going to be a new offers in messaging feature. So you're going to be able to, buyers and sellers are now going to be able to negotiate directly inside of a chat. You can send an offer, counter the offer, accept the offer without bouncing between tabs and things like that. I'm hoping this does not become Facebook Marketplace messaging. It's my hope anyway. There's also going to be some cost and inventory controls coming. So there's going to be a your cost field in listings coming this fall to allow you to input and update your cost during listing or after a sale. It's also going to sync with your earnings page so that you can track profitability, plan any promos, and adjust any ad rates. Kind of nice. And then there's going to be an inventory mapping API or application program interface. Sellers can feed in images plus product identifiers, think like UPCs, things like that. And eBay will auto-generate optimized titles, item specifics, and even descriptions, all using AI for you. Hopefully it's better than what they offer now with the AI product descriptions. That's going to start rolling out to select US sellers here pretty soon. Basically, eBay's version of ChatGPT for listings, essentially. And then they're rolling out some seller protections, which honestly I did not have on my bingo card for 2025. But starting in October of 2025, if you ship on time with eBay labels plus tracking and an item shows is delivered after a refund is issued, eBay will reimburse you and wipe any bad feedback. Starting in September of 2025, if you ship tracked, deliver on time, and no issues reported, eBay will auto leave positive feedback on your behalf if the buyer has not. Because a lot of times buyers just ghost you on feedback. It's irritating because I have my seller feedback set up to auto leave feedback for the buyer. There's also going to be more AI in the toolbox. eBay's magical bulk listing tool is going to let sellers upload a batch of photos and it generates draft listings in seconds, which it's kind of sucks because there is some software out there right now that people pay for that does this. So there goes someone's business if this is any good. They're also letting sellers turn images into professional looking videos with generative AI. eBay seems to be trying really hard to keep up on the AI front and offering new seller tools, making the platform a little less clunky. The protections are a huge win. The cost tracking tool, I think, could be useful. And I mean, unless it's for your death pile, then it'll just let you know how little you're making or how much you're losing on the item. And yeah, I think there's some good things coming to eBay here. It's great timing too, because we're doing a death pile challenge where eBay takes center stage in OAC Plus.
Yeah, this was a huge surprise. This is low key pretty big.
Yeah.
Because eBay is my number one alternative marketplace when I need to move, whether it be returns or stuff that I've clawed back from Amazon, or think about the regatings and stuff. There's no shortage of things to be able to list on eBay. So the fact that they're stepping up and they've decided to become aggressive in staking whatever claim, whatever market share that they've decided they want. I wonder if this is in response to maybe a little bit of faltering on, which was it, Mercari?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they kind of fumbled it a little bit. No, this is, at the especially the cost. There really isn't. I don't have any good method outside of Google Sheets as far as like tracking the money that I'm making, and it's kind of a mess. It's disjointed and nothing's connected. So the nicest thing about being able to put the stuff in is the reporting that inevitably will come with it. My CPA will be very pleased with that information if they make a nice clean report. Yeah, and the pro seller slant. You're right. That was a big surprise. Pleasant surprise.
Yeah.
This is this is good news all around. I like selling on eBay. I think there's opportunity there. I've recently, and in fact, it was just delivered today. I actually bought something specifically to sell on eBay because I was gated on Amazon.
Nice.
It's so knowing that it's a little bit easier, a little bit more robust. It's, if you think about it, we're sourcing already. So if we make it a habit and it becomes a positive experience, a productive experience to sell on eBay, it's really only a slight tweak to our sourcing methods to check eBay as well. Because there's, you start going through your death pile. That's one of the great things about the death pile challenge. Not only does it clear floor space that you haven't seen in probably a couple of years, you get yelled at by your significant other a little less. It's good all the way around that way. But it never fails to surprise me the handful of items that actually sell really, really well on eBay. There's, I'm not sure there's rhyme or reason to it, but if this becomes a safe place for sellers, I might need to start thinking eBay more. And doesn't mean I have to source more. It just means that if I keep eBay in mind, I'm going to get more out of the sourcing time that I'm already putting in. And that's obviously great news.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm a fan. I don't know, eBay sales, they feel good. You get the little cha-ching on your phone and you get a little dopamine hit. I could do without packing them up myself, but that's not a huge headache. But yeah, I like it. And heck, the reporting is going to make my job a whole lot easier. The person who takes pictures for me and stuff and uploads them into drafts, like I pay a commission when things sell, and that's going to make my life so much easier. So yeah, I think this is great all the way around. Yeah, eBay money is available very quickly. I'm a little spoiled on the Amazon side, so I can take a payout every 24 hours without any holdback. So I probably shouldn't say that anymore. It just feels like bragging, but yeah, eBay, getting that money from eBay is nice. Yeah, and Luke, I thought Walmart was going to be the place to sell all my my go backs, but yeah, eBay is the place for me now. And speaking of that, that is one of the things we're doing in OAC Plus. If you're interested in joining us, we're building out what is looking to be the best Amazon community that I'm aware of. We have got so much stuff going on. Matter of fact, I just shared a picture of our content calendar through September the 8th, and it is jam packed. We've got 808 sourcing sessions. We've got sourcing sessions every Monday with Chris right here. We've got 2 retail arbitrage sellers who are going to come in and teach us how to make the most from their sourcing strategies. And we just got a bunch of stuff lined up. We got coaching calls every Thursday at noon. We've got courses in there, the OA challenge. We've got the wholesale challenge. We've got the Amazon influencer program. We've got the credit card points and miles challenge. Like, it's going to be really good once I get this all fleshed out in there. We've got some leads that go up for everybody. We're going to have some more things coming here pretty soon. I was actually looking at some stock checkers last night. And you can get leads looked at for you. So if you've got a question on something you're looking to pull the trigger on, I will literally make you a Loom video. Matter of fact, I did one for someone yesterday. She was able to get a bunch of them, a really sweet lead. And something I didn't even know that existed anymore. And she was able to find some. It was fantastic. We don't source them, of course. And then to kind of put a cherry on top of all of it, if you get a suspension, whether it's a Section 3 or inauthentic complaint or something like that, we will help you with a suspension. Either help you write the POA or make sure all your documents are the way that they should be, give you advice, all of that stuff right through our ticketing and support system. So if you're interested in learning a little bit more about the OAC Plus community, would love to have you check it out. You can go to oachallenge.com/RACIC Plus. That's oachallenge.com/RACIC Plus. Should find that link down in the video description as well.
Yeah, it's coming together. It's so nice. I don't know if we need to. Are we talking to any of the original VIP members anymore? If anyone that was familiar with that, like that vibe, you can feel it coming back. Especially with even more stuff. The cool thing about the community is everybody has their own busy hours. And kind of when you have different people paying more attention at different times of the day, what ends up happening is it's a vibrant community where there's interaction pretty much all day long. It maybe for a few hours, as the day changes over, but I know I think I was tossing messages in there at 1-2 a.m. the other day, because I'm up doing stuff anyway. I'm kind of a night owl anyway. And then there are early birds, and, your quote comes in, around school time in the morning. So it's really cool. And there's more coming all the time. I'm really excited about this. If you're kicking it around, the price is going to go up soon, right? Because there's only, I don't even know. There
can't
I don't even
be
know
very
if it's
many
still
left.
available. Yeah.
I always have to check. I don't know if heck, if it's sold out, I'm whoops.
But basically there's a founder's rate. You're kind of getting a grand opening rate right now.
It looks like there's 3 of them left.
Okay.
3 left at the founder's rate.
And the founder's rate is about half of what this community is going to cost on a regular basis, on an ongoing basis. So, yeah, I mean, you looking at the roadmap, looking on everything that's available right now, you really shouldn't pass it up. If you're on the fence, I would highly suggest that you pull the trigger as soon as possible.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. I'm excited for what we're going to be doing with this. And Mark, that's great to hear, man. Liking it so far. That's fantastic. All right. We got one more piece of news, and then I want to answer your guys' questions. And I saw someone ask something already. Can't see. Where's it at here? VB. How's everyone feeling about the new tariffs post August 29? Well, consumers don't seem to be pulling back at all. There's new data from Resonate that dropped this past week, and it paints this really interesting pictures of how U.S. shoppers are handling tariffs and any rising prices. Sort of like they're not even there. 62% of consumers say that they rarely or never run into items missing because of tariffs. 49% are spending the same as they were 6 months ago, and 30% have not changed their habits at all, despite any higher prices. Now, if the economy does tighten up, shoppers already say that they know what's on the chopping block. 37% of them say that they'll ditch dining out or takeout, which honestly, don't we need to get rid of Uber Eats and DoorDash? Like, isn't it time for those things to die?
Yeah, I mean, how has it gone this long? Like I can convenience is worth paying for, but I mean, my God, why would you triple the price of your kids' Happy Meals? Is that you don't have to get in the car. I can't believe frugality hasn't stepped up and said, "Excuse me."
Yeah, and listen, I'm guilty. I am guilty on occasion. I am, but as of late, my family wanted Chipotle about a week ago, and I was like, all right, we could do Chipotle. And I looked to see what the cost was, and the delivery cost for 4 people was over $100. Or I could go pick it up and spend 50. Yeah, I'll spend $50 less, for 5 minutes in the car. All right. So 49% are, where are they going to cut? Well, 37% say they'll ditch dining out or takeout. 26% say they'll cut travel. 24% say they'll stop entertainment and events, except for the Taylor Swift concert series that is surely to be coming after her new album drops. 24% say they will cut back on luxury purchases, while 19% will avoid them altogether. Although the lipstick index says that those people are all lying. Holiday outlook. Over the last 2 years, there's been a 38% jump in people opting out of presents completely. Liars. And I have data to back this up. Okay. 25% plan to shop only during Black Friday and Cyber Monday. And a ton of people expect deal hunting to define Q4 yet again. I don't know why we just can't be served up news without all the slant or what people say they're going to expect. But there was a study done recently of what people say on these kinds of polls compared to what they actually do or actually mean. And the spread is ridiculous. Like, the people just tell people what they want to hear rather than the truth all the time. Mm-hmm. Now, here's where something really gets interesting. Only 22% say that they're worried about the economy. That is down 19 percentage points since March. If the Fed cuts its rates in September, I would imagine that this number is going to go down even further. Now, 23% say that they expect to be personally worse off in 6 months. 70% of people say that they're in debt, with 16% struggling to keep up with payments, which that actually seems like a pretty big delta to me. So that feels good. I don't know. I mean, I wish it was a larger delta, but it feels pretty good. 34% say that they're saving less than they were 6 months ago. And then what about travel trends? Well, 55% of people say they aren't traveling this fall or winter. Of those who are, 32% plan to spend under $2,000. Many are shifting to shorter trips, domestic destinations, or budget travel like camping and road trips. Which, if Luke is a kind of a canary in the coal mine, when somebody goes on a camping or road trip, well, guess where they order things from the day before they have to leave? It's Amazon because they forgot they needed something. So, yeah, just some interesting information that I found.
Yeah, and going through that list, I couldn't help but think about how insulated the Amazon seller is from this, right? Because you, especially like where they plan on cutting first, right? Because here's the thing: 37% said they would ditch dining out or takeout, right? Think about that RA trip. That meal is probably, most likely, I'm not an accountant. This is not professional advice, but it's probably deductible, right? If you need a meal while you're doing big RA trips, especially in Q4, 26% said they'll cut travel. I haven't made a travel purchase that has not been supplemented by credit card points in I don't know how long, right? And in fact, I've been able to take more trips simply because I have so many credit card points, and I'm not even that good at working that system. It's simply just the volume of inventory that we purchase in this line of work, right? Yeah. So those were the top two reasons. So it's kind of interesting that's kind of how we roll. And the two combined, dining. If you get the right cards, you could probably earn 3 or 4 times credit card points on any meals anyway, even if you can't deduct them. So that's kind of cool. What you were talking about as far as like what people say in the polls versus what they do, that is the Hawthorne effect.
Yes.
Right. And that is specifically in research. It's when people alter their behavior when they know they're being observed. It's why people all of a sudden become far more productive in office jobs when the boss starts walking around. So there is something scientific to that. But you know what? And now here's the thing. Let's go back to the first piece of news and mesh these together, right? Amazon made a grocery play. We talked about the effect of the digital version of walking through the aisles to get back to the thing that you're going to buy and passing all the other things, and the effect of going to a Walmart supercenter and where you only need a couple things, you end up walking out with $100 in your cart. None of those, if you're an Amazon seller who is in line, if you're selling a bunch of medicine cabinet stuff, if you're selling a bunch of pantry stuff, under the cabinets, all that sort of household goods in general, none of that stuff was on the list, right? So, we've talked about it before. We've been doing this long enough, where there's been ebbs and flows, and there's certainly no shortage of people predicting bad things to come. So we're forced to talk about it on the show frequently. And we've talked about how easy it is to recession-proof your Amazon store.
Mm-hmm.
You can insulate yourself pretty well as far as from an inventory mix perspective. You can insulate yourself well to anything that might come your way as far as economic news. So yeah, there's always a play for Amazon sellers.
Always a play if you're selling stuff. And listen, Truth Right and GSD, I don't know anything about macroeconomics or whether or not the Fed is going to cut the rate. All I can do is report the news. And CME Fed Watch says 91% of a 25 bips rate cut. Polymarket right now is at 74%. That's all I know. Those seem like pretty good odds, based on everything that has come out. So if they do, great. If they don't, I don't know. We'll just hear more complaining. But I don't care one way or the other because people are going to keep buying things that they need. And people are going to keep buying things that they want or make them feel good, and we're going to supply those for them.
Yeah,
All right.
and one thing is evident. Just to put a bow on this, is this article itself, regardless of what happens, it's telling us that people aren't going to adjust their economic behavior until basically it's too late. So it's almost they're invulnerable to these predictions that always seem to be a caveat on every single piece of economic news that we run into these days.
Oh, and also GSD. I know that we had another 90-day hold put on tariffs from China, so that should be solid for Q4. So we'll see. But again, I'm not super worried about it. Being in the retail business is fairly inflationary resistant. Matter of fact, it's why I know this guy who got into the Amazon business for that reason specifically, after a 9-figure exit from his other business. All right, let's answer some of your guys' questions. Sorry, I'm trying to find the right one here, or the first one here. Albana, here we go. Can we get back the sales tax we pay when doing OA? The answer is maybe. There are several states where you can absolutely file to get it back. Florida happens to be one of them, although I hear Florida is rather difficult. Ohio is one of them. I can tell you they're difficult after getting tens of thousands of dollars paid back to myself from Ohio. When those checks all came in the mail, I don't dance. I did that day. And there are several other states. Now you can do this yourself and figure it out. There's also a place called refundsalestax.com. I happen to know the folks who run it. Matter of fact, we've got a podcast coming out here pretty soon with one of the gentlemen who runs refundsalestax.com. And sorry about the dog. Must be something at the front door. But refundsalestax.com can handle all that for you, and they'll take a little piece of it for doing all the work for you. All right, Maurice, is there any advantage of using a prep center on the East Coast versus the West Coast? I was told the East Coast would have shorter check-in times and lower carrier cost and other advantages. Check-in times right now seem to be, it's not the check-in times so much as the FC transfer times, in my opinion. Check-in times seem to be pretty quick. FC transfer times seem to be running a little slow. Is there a lower carrier cost? I believe that there is a bit of a lower carrier cost in the East Coast because there are more warehouses on the East Coast than there are on the West Coast. You're also going to have lower placement fees in most cases on the East Coast than you will on the West Coast. And I know that from practice. That's what it is. Other advantages, I can't say for sure. I can't say what other advantages might be, but there's a pretty strong argument for East Coast prep centers being better,
Yeah, and however, let maybe zoom out a little bit. It's good that you're to the point that you're getting that granular as far as which coast to pick for your prep center. But it's worth it to kind of zoom out and draw the big picture in the fact of how much of an advantage a prep center is versus doing it yourself, especially as we're approaching Q4. I like to call it a turnstile tool. It's once you go through the turnstile, they only turn one way, because you're not even going to think about going back once you get there. So, it's kind of like, am I going to save a whole lot of money or a whole lot of money? It's kind of a, an embarrassment of riches kind of thing. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you don't have a prep center yet, just absolutely get one. It's so much better. Luke, you may be right. There, a majority of East Coast tax-free prep centers might be more expensive. I don't know if that's the case all the way around. That's a pretty broad brushstroke. Um,
Well,
so
but I mean, there is strategy, right? I mean, look at prep centers in sales tax states. They have to
mhm.
they have to be cheap because they know you're paying sales tax, so they have to compete against the ones in Delaware, New Hampshire, Montana, Montana, Oregon. So there's kind of there's a market, and
Mhm.
the market will tolerate certain levels. So that makes sense in theory. That the ones in East Coast, especially if this is the prevailing opinion, that East Coast is more cost effective, if that's how the sellers perceive it, then they may think they have some room to increase prices over West Coast sales tax free states.
Yeah. Man, I am gonna wreck your name, so I apologize. Moinel. Hopefully that's right. So could you please advise how should a new seller schedule their day or week to do Amazon FBA? Also, how do you schedule your day and weekly tasks? That would be great. So this is a difficult question to answer, and I'll give you the reason why. I don't know what your circumstances are. And if I tell you what my schedule is, which well, that won't be helpful because honestly, I don't keep a great schedule, even though I try in vain every week. But I don't know what other things you've got on your plate. So if you've got to take kids to school and you've got a 9 to 5, and then you can work in the evenings, well, but you also need to have some family time. Well, then I would say, make sure that you're doing all those things. You're taking the kids to school, you're doing your job. If you can get away with sneaking in some Amazon time at your job, maybe you start eating at your desk rather than going out for lunch. That would be cool. That's fine. I am not saying that you should steal company time, but I'm not saying it either. And have family time. And then if it were me back in that situation, I worked after everyone was in bed, like 9 p.m. until 2 a.m. was typically time for me to get to work, whether that was sourcing, whether it was shipping, whether it was whatever. That's what I would do. My schedule now looks a lot different. I'm kind of working all the time unless someone is hitting me up for a snack, or you know want me to play some basketball or something like that. So I get up, I work, have some lunch, continue working, work until bed, and then I'm working on my phone or maybe reading. It's just work. And then I make sure to, not leave my family out of it. Make sure I can go to the beach with them on occasion, make sure that tomorrow's skate night, I'll make time to go to that. Uh, and so I don't know. It's just whatever it takes to move the ball forward. I don't have a good system in place personally.
And the cool thing is that you don't have to have a perfect system in place.
Yeah.
We all, everyone kind of enters. I made an analogy of, the Amazon space is kind of like a roundabout. Everybody's kind of going the same speed once you get in the circle, but we all entered from a different point, and we're going to go around, a different length of time. So it depends on what you want out of this, what your current situation is. I've always said that the best way to approach this business would be as a part-time seller with a full-time gig. You have the safety net of having your essentials covered. Your bills are covered by your full-time job. But even outside of that, if you're only doing this part-time and you have constraints on your time, it forces you to be efficient. right? And you have to get this done because you only have small windows. That lends itself well. So then if you can do it part-time and you can start generating income that is reaching the numbers that you're looking for and beyond, that means that once you go full-time, you've now opened up massive chunks of time. And if you're disciplined, you can really make that work for you, and you can, whether that be like, okay, I've freed up 40 hours a week because I quit my full-time job because I'm making enough selling on Amazon that I can go full-time. Okay, great. You did it in the period of time that you had while you were working 40 hours. Now you have that 40 hours freed up to put into your Amazon business, up to 40 hours, depending on how you want to work it. But you have to be disciplined to make sure you're taking advantage of that. And different people are going to approach it in different ways. Some people may be like, all right, no, I'm going to scale to the moon now. I'm going to take all 40 of those hours and I'm going to put it into my business and I'm going to become $1 million seller, right? Or some people may be like, you know what, I'm going to take back 20 hours a week for my family, or for myself, for my mental health, whatever it may be. And I still have 20 extra put into the business. So I'm now working on it full time from an hour perspective, which should boost the numbers and, should scale it automatically as well. So you've got the best of both worlds in that scenario. You've freed up personal time and you've also, you're also going to increase your numbers and scale simply by putting more time into the business at the same time. So it depends on what you want. I mean, the thing is, the one thing for sure, no matter how you approach it, no matter what your goal is, make sure that you are brutally honest in your assessments of what you've done. Okay. Nobody's watching you. No, you don't have to answer to anybody with Amazon. That's a great thing and a bad thing. Because if you're BSing, you're BSing yourself. Right. So you have to measure it accurately. Be honest about your weaknesses, be honest about the places that you need to improve. So that when you're setting your schedule, and hopefully if you do go full time and you have those extra hours now, however many you decide to allot to the business, you can focus on the things that you're weak on and either outsource those or take a little bit more time to get it right.
Yeah. That's one of the cool things. Something that not a lot of people talk about, I think, is that we really should think about what we want our lifestyle to be. You made a great point there. Like if you want to take 20 hours back for yourself or your family, there's too much hustle porn that's out there. It's okay to be present for your family. It's okay if you only want to work 20 hours a week. It's okay if you want to spend 20 hours a week on the golf course. Like as long as your business can support whatever lifestyle you choose, you're right. Not everyone needs to or wants to make millions of dollars per year. It's a headache. Like you scale to, $4, $5, $6, $7, $10 million a year. Like that is a lot of responsibility. And I think about like Jeff Storch, for example. Jeff has got team members. He's got people that he pays and he sustains their livelihoods. And that weight is on his shoulders, So is that what you want? And then make decisions out of that.
Yep.
Ben, for ungating, does an Amazon business invoice still qualify? Yep, it does. Matter of fact, in a lot of cases, not all of them, but in a lot of cases, Amazon will even state if using an Amazon invoice, you've got to have at least 50 units. Now, if my application is refused, should I respond to the brand approval case or reapply through the add a product page? Well, if there is a case that's open and not been closed, you won't have any other way but to respond to the case. So I would go that route, add something in, change something around, highlight something new, add in a photo, change the file name, turn it 180 degrees, like whatever you've got to do to make it seem different and new. Otherwise, you're going to need to get that case closed, which requires usually to upload a PDF asking them to close the case before you can open up a new case or reapply through the add a product page again. Which, if you're going to go that route, I would not do that every single time. That would be like, I'm going to do it once to try to reset things, and I'm going to wait a week or so because someone will remember, like they'll see, oh, hey, they closed this just to open up a new one. So
Yep, and for perspective, Ben, neither of us are batting an eye if we have to resubmit documentation on the same application 30 times. Just in case you need your expectations set. Like it, we're just in a state now where you just got to keep battering them over and over again to get it done.
Mm-hmm. And we've been in this position before. Like this actually is not a new thing for Amazon ungating. It is new to a lot of sellers because they've never been through one of these cycles. But this is not unusual. And eventually we will cycle back to where Amazon will accept pictures of Barack Obama to get ungated, unfortunately. And then we'll cycle back to hard times, difficult ungating makes for easy times on Amazon, and and then whatever that saying is. But how are you managing inbound shipping defects? I am shipping 22 by 22 by 21 and a half boxes. Inventory Lab rounds decimals, which Amazon marks as an error. Boxes probably also get smashed changing the box dimensions. I doubt that the boxes getting dinged up on the edges are really messing with it too much. It is most likely not rounding up. I would always round up to the nearest inch. And then you shouldn't have those. I don't really have inbound shipping defects for those kind of things. And we just always round up. So
yeah, it's an easy way to just avoid all of those inconveniences.
Mm-hmm. Heather, if the selling application still says only 10 units and does not say 50 units for Amazon, is it worth it to fight when the response says you need 50 units? My guess is probably not. If I had already purchased 10 units and this was maybe something that's expensive, might I go in and take a screenshot of that 10 units and then say, hey, that's not what you guys are requesting? It wouldn't be a bad idea. You might give it a shot at least. You see, I would imagine that a memo went around and told everybody, hey, listen, Amazon's going to 50 unit minimum for ungating, and they didn't get the nuance in the memo. And so that's probably where they're coming for that. They can't get in trouble for approving 10 they might get in trouble for approving the 10 units if something goes wrong, whereas if they just say no, even if they do see it, they can't get in trouble. So like incentives again are not aligned. But that's probably what I would do.
All right, let me push back on that a little bit.
Okay.
If Amazon if Amazon thought there was a significant material difference between 10 and 50 units, why wouldn't the messages be changed to say 50 from the start? Right? In that scenario, Heather, I would act like I never even heard him say 50. I mean, I would just give that's the full-on Karen asymmetrical haircut. Like, here is the 10 units as requested with that screenshot, and I would just keep going I would act like I'd never even heard 50 units and just keep peppering it with 10 over and over again. Because that's, I mean, if they're going to change the policy, change the policy, you know? I know the, you know, I can understand the logic behind it. You know, Amazon's thinking, well, you know, 50 increases the chances that this is legitimate inventory. Sure. You know, it's likely coming from a distributor or whatever, or, you know, they're going through more professional channels, you know, but that would imply that Amazon's ultimately not interested in allowing an arbitrager to ungate products, buying it via retail. And if that was the case, it's a very strong argument that they would change the policy from the beginning, right? Because we do know that Amazon is having issues with the, okay, you're ungated, you're approved, and then you get regated again. You know, we know there's glitches going on, you know, and they're trying to work on that. They've acknowledged that from what we understand, and they're trying to fix it to help sellers. So I don't think we can rule out that the all of a sudden it's 50 isn't also a glitch.
Mm-hmm. And Heather, I see you said that you got 6 months invested in this. So my suggestion might be have them call you, you know, open up a case for a phone call. And like you said, you've already gone full Karen. Well, just do that over the phone and be like, hey, listen, I need you to look at this. I can show you all the data. And if the first person can't help you, my favorite line in the whole world when someone cannot help me is, hey, listen, I understand that it's not within your power to help me. You know, no problem. May I speak to your manager, your supervisor, or another person who might have the power to help me? That's a little bit of a dig at them. You know, it kind of cuts them down a little bit without being incredibly mean, because I don't want to just cut them down, you know, on purpose, hard, but go to the next person and the next person. You know, that's how people have been getting ungated in Nike and some of the more difficult brands, is actually hopping on the phone. So,
yeah. And then let me play devil's advocate to my own argument that I just made. If you're 6 months into it, depending on how much time you've invested, you do eventually have to calculate the cost of the extra 40 units versus the time spent banging your head against the wall also. Mm-hmm. So there is a tipping point somewhere. I'm not sure where that is, but.
All right. Any other thoughts, questions, concerns before we wrap it up for this week? It was a good show this week. Had a good amount of people come out. It's Amazon's feeling back, man. Amazon Twitter is feeling a little back. You know, having more folks come to the shows. I'm like I said, I'm bullish.
Yeah, PL gurus are quiet. Like we're in a good place.
Yeah. All right. Well, if that's it, guys, we'll wrap it up there for today. We're going to be back on Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. We'll do this thing all over again, bring you some news, answer your guys' questions, help you in any way we can. Until then, I hope you guys have a great start to your week. So that's it. We'll catch you guys on Wednesday.